Hey guys, this is Dana, and this is episode number 45 of the Ask a Question show, the show in which you ask a question about any type of narcissistic or otherwise abusive or toxic relationship or situation, and I, along with the rest of the community here, will do our very best to help answer it. Our goal is to give you the feedback and the support that you need so that you can move forward in getting all of the clarity, closure, and healing possible. And so today's question comes from a member of the community, and she was asking kind of what my take is on the whole 50 Shades of Grey. So I had not seen the movie until last night, and so I rented it on Amazon. To say I was horrified by what I saw would be an understatement. Like, other words, and maybe even horrified is not the word that even comes close to adequately describing it. Disgusted, disturbed, a big pile of dreck. I really don't even know what I watched. And because I don't have a TV, I totally missed all of kind of the scandal and the controversy around this movie when it came out. So I had to do a lot of reading. I was on different blogs late last night and on watching some different YouTube videos about it, which kind of made me feel even more disturbed because the conversations and the issues that a lot of people had with this movie, I felt were kind of a little like kind of missing the mark. And so here's kind of my take on it. I think there's a difference between BDSM and abuse, and like they're not even in the same ballpark. So my main issue with this movie is that it was an abusive relationship that had BDSM elements to it versus an ideally healthy relationship where two people might want to explore BDSM. Like there's an ocean of difference there, and that's the foundation of what that relationship is to start with. So even if you were to take away all of the BDSM, that movie, that relationship is still like way messed up. Personally, I have no problem with BDSM, and let me kind of clarify what it is. It stands for bondage and discipline, domination and submission, and sadism and masochism. So, and not all of those elements have to be present there within a dynamic. It's whatever two people agree to have happen. So I don't think that there's anything wrong with BDSM. I think everybody kind of has their own kink and what does it for them. What matters is that it's safe, sane, and consensual, which anybody in the BDSM community would agree with. If it's not those three things, then it's abuse. And so that's because it wasn't those three things, it's abuse. So here's some other elements of BDSM. I'm going to compare them to abuse. I have a whole list of just like issues that I have with this movie that I'm going to cover here. So elements of BDSM within a healthy relationship, right? So it's a power exchange, a consensual power exchange between two people. It's safe, it's sane, it's consensual. There are safe words that are used. There's boundaries that are agreed upon ahead of time. A high level of respect is there for both partners. The submissive partner is the one that has all the power. I'll kind of go through these here in a little bit. There is a level of aftercare and debriefing, which involves a lot of communication, kind of exploring how do you feel physically or psychologically or, sexually. Was this enjoyable? Was it not? What can we do different? Again, a lot of healthy, open, and honest and sincere communication. There's a lot of trust that's already established within this relationship. So adding these different kind of power exchanges helps, it can build further trust in a relationship. It's fulfilling to both partners, and it requires a high level of maturity between the two consenting adults, as well as a level of maturity of the relationship. So this isn't something that you can just jump into with a total stranger and expect that it's going to be fulfilling for you. Because again, everybody has their own kink. And so if a person's thing is that they like to be tied up, but this other person doesn't like to tie people up, then it's not going to be compatible. It's not going to be fulfilling, right? Just like if the other partner is really into, I don't know, like dressing like a baby, and people do this, or some sort of like foot fetish, or wearing latex, or, there's no shortage of things that people like to do. So whatever they're into, like, both people need to be okay with exploring that. If they're not, then it's not a good fit. And I think this is a lot of what the movie didn't cover. And this would be a big concern that I have with this movie, is that there's a lot of people running around out there, especially the more dominant people that are telling submissives, well, I'm dominant and now you belong to me. And so now you need to submit to me, which means that you need to do everything that I want you to do, which is not okay. And that has nothing to do with BDSM. It's the healthy approach would be like, hey, here's really what I'm into, and what in all of this are you into as well? And like, what are you willing to explore, and to like what extent? And just because two people are into pain doesn't mean that they like maybe exploring pain in the same kind of ways. Or just because a person likes being tied up may not mean they want to be tied up and suspended from the ceiling. Do you see what I'm saying? So like, there's a lot of different, you have to know a person, and you have to have those conversations. You have to build trust. Like, being tied up, or really even opening yourself sexually in any way, or even emotionally, takes a level of time to get to that place. So again, another element not present in the movie. They hopped into bed right away. She didn't know him. Even at the end of the movie, she still didn't know him. Just lots of craziness there. So let me contrast what BDSM is all about versus what abuse is all about. So abuse is all about, instead of it being a power exchange, it's about power being taken from the victim. It's not safe, sane, or consensual. It's in fact dangerous, psychologically abusive, if not other forms of abusive, and it's not consensual. There's no safe word involved. In fact, words don't stop abuse, right? There's no boundaries or respect involved. The dominant partner is the one that has all of the power, and there is no like debriefing and aftercare, exploring, are you comfortable with what happened? There's no communication. If there is any form of communication, it's definitely unhealthy. It's lying and manipulating, and a level of deceit and exploitation and justification and minimization and blame and denial, and using guilt and shame and obligation and love and hope to exploit their victim into doing what they want. Again, like, not even in the same zip code. Abuse obviously destroys trust, and it's only fulfilling for the abusive partner. Instead of there being a level of maturity involved, abuse relies on manipulation. So again, not the same. Within the movie, here were some more specific examples of stuff that I really had an issue with. In general, with romantic comedies or romantic movies or erotic movies of any kind, there always seems to be kind of this whole very like formulaic, sexist like plot structure that I find incredibly damaging for both men and women. And so it's this idea that women somehow need to be rescued from their own life, and that they don't need to either like develop themselves in any way, shape, or form, that they, just be somehow cute enough to land a guy. And ideally, apparently a billionaire who is just gonna, love bomb you and do all these things. And then you're just gonna get sucked in with this like total insane guy and need to be rescued again. Right. And then, of course, this is damaging for men, because then it kind of perpetuates this whole idea of this white knight syndrome, where that's the man's role, right? That you're supposed to rush in and save these damsels in distress, when in reality, a healthy relationship, both people can hold their own. They don't necessarily need another person. They want that other person in their life. There's a very big difference. And the other person is kind of just like the icing on the cake. And, it's not the whole cake, if that makes sense. So specific issues I have with the movie. She's incredibly naive. She's incredibly ignorant. She's vulnerable. She's gullible. She has the emotional maturity of like a 12-year-old. She has no life experience whatsoever. Supposedly, she's a recent college graduate, which I find both humorous and offensive. And yet, here is this very worldly billionaire, right, who's got all of this life experience and sexual experience. It's not an equal dynamic. At the beginning, when they start kind of progressing down this trail, she makes it known that she's a virgin. Not only is she a virgin, she's not familiar at all with her own body, or really kind of what she likes or doesn't like in life. So And he refers to her virginity as like her situation, and that they need to resolve that, which not cool. It's, your sexuality is your sexuality, and to that felt very shaming to me, and just like, what a jerk. Like, if your partner's sexuality is a problem, then for you, then you're with the wrong person. So, like, again, not cool. He sells her car without asking her and just buys her another one. Like, sure, nice that you would just buy a person a car, but not cool to just assume that that's going to be okay. Like, that's violating. At one point, he undresses her while she's drunk, and puts her to bed. Incredibly violating. I think any woman would feel that way. Any guy, anybody. Like, I'm sorry, anybody. Like, not cool to undress a person when they're like blackout drunk. It's just not cool. He shows up unannounced at she's going to visit her mom out of state. Mind you, he shows up unannounced, uninvited, crashes her time with her mom. They're having brunch or something. And he's got some sort of like tracking device on her phone. And like, her mom and her don't see that this is problematic. Like, it's just seen as, oh, that's really cute that your boyfriend showed up in another state, totally unannounced. Like, what? I mean, it's just so wild that there's just so many things that are wrong with this movie. She really views, and he's incredibly jealous. He pushes a friend of hers at one point. So she's seeing these glimpses of this guy he's jealous, he's controlling, he's got anger issues, but she chalks it up to the fact that he's got all these issues because he's adopted, which that's offensive too, right? Just to make that assumption. And that he was basically sexually abused and exploited by this older woman that got him in to this BDSM scene. And so she really views him as kind of this, she's going to now try to rescue him, right? He's kind of this baby bird with a broken wing. And so now she's thinking to herself, well, just kind of given enough time and understanding and love and hope and maybe therapy, that he can really be this boyfriend that I want him to be, that we can really have this dynamic that I really want to have, and that we can just, kind of have this relationship and get married and have a baby and live happily ever after, which is actually what does end up happening in the later books. Again, as a woman, that's really limiting. It's really offensive that somehow like the end result for all women, because it's not. And like, why can't women just fall in love with their own life and like live happily ever after, and then just meet a really super cool guy, and they do their thing, and yeah, like, that just bothers me. See, he has no respect for her safe words. He has no respect for this contract that they've agreed upon. He seems to have no issue with the fact that she has the emotional maturity of a 12-year-old and really is not familiar with this community at all. He does nothing to kind of debrief her about what she's getting into, what she could experience psychologically. There's a term that's called subdrop that does happen to submissive people. This is why that whole kind of aftercare and debriefing thing is done. So, it's where there's like intense emotion, and then it ends. And like I said, it's like the author obviously did not do her research at all into this community. I think the damage that is going to be done by this book is it just terrifies me and concerns me. Let's see. Oh, the last major issue in this scene was he is spanking. She tells him something along the lines of, I need to know to like what level of pain that you want to take this to in order for me to know that I'm okay with it. Like, that's not a way to go about exploring boundaries at all, right? But they do this, and so he's whipping her with a cane or a whip or something, and she's crying. So clearly, like, the consent isn't there. She's not okay with what's going on. She feels pressure to continue doing this because she asked for it. But again, like, within this dynamic, at any given time, consent isn't just given once. Like, it's given throughout this whole dynamic. People are like slowly kind of inching their way along, making sure that their partner, that everybody's kind of okay with what's going on as this boundary is explored. If at any given time a partner's obviously not okay with it, especially in the context where she doesn't have the emotional or sexual experience that he does to know, she doesn't know like what's okay and what's not okay, but he does. And that would be his role as and an experienced dominant. So I don't know. There's just a lot of different issues that I have there, and and people. And I think I might have brought this up at the beginning of the video, but I'm going to bring it up again. People have this idea that all BDSM is not healthy and that it is abusive. I totally don't agree with that. I think it's whatever two consensual people, two people consent to, two adults consent to within the realm of a healthy relationship. So everybody's got their thing. Like I'm not going to judge that. So yeah, that's what I got for you. I'll be curious to see kind of what you guys think about this. What, if you saw the movie, what you thought about it, and what issues, if any, you had with it. So we'll go from there. Any other questions, comments, concerns, frustrations, ideas, insights, feedback? You need some support. You just want to say hi. You know where to find me. Contact info is down below. And lots of love to you guys. I will talk to you soon. You're not alone. You're not crazy, and you really can heal from this. So take care. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.